Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Y'all all right? I mean, what's really going on? Thank you so much for tuning in. We are Unhinged Live. I'm your girl, Tilted Halo, also known as your homie from around the way, your favorite auntie, your favorite sister, your favorite cousin, Tilted Halo, sitting alongside my good girlfriend, Coach Cash, Karen Sims Harrell of Twisted Threads LLC, our very own in-house master life coach. We've got an exciting show lined up for you tonight, and I am absolutely excited. Y'all already know how I do about tonight's guest. Honey. Just be forewarned. It's destined to be a powerful and impactful conversation on this evening. But before we get into it, I want to go ahead and take the time to say thank you and acknowledge all of our replay viewers who are going to tune in and listen and view us at a later date and time. We really appreciate you, and we hope that your life is richly blessed by the conversation that we have on this evening. We're going to have, of course, a very special guest interview. You've seen the advertisements. Of course, we're going to feature yet another music spotlight. But, you heard from her last week. She got a whole project out there, y'all. So you're going to hear a little bit more from our sister friend, Sharice Hackett. Of course, we're going to journey merrily down the stream and get into that conversational discussion you all have come to love and enjoy. What's really going on? Coach Cash is going to take us to the room, to the corner, to the timeout section of the room, whatever it is we need, as she pours and empowers us with yet another reflection of purpose. And we're going, in tonight's show with encouragement for each and every one of you to continue to just be. So before we get into it, Karen, I've got to ask you, with so much going on, first of all, I need to know how you're doing. And can you share with me one thing that you are absolutely grateful for in this Thanksgiving season?
Oh, Lord, get your tissue. Get your tissue. Get your tissue.
My blanket may have to suffice tonight. Hold
okay,
up.
well, don't get no snot on it, because then you can't.
Okay.
You got washboard sleep on it. Okay, so listen, I'm doing good. I'm doing good in this season. I'm gonna mention two things quickly. I don't really have time for procrastination right now, so everything is just getting done. How about that? Like, no time for procrastination. I've got for a to-do list. That means that if it came to my mind and the opportunity presents itself, I am doing it. And I gotta say thank you, Lord, and be proud of myself for that. Because those who know me, y'all know I'm the queen of last minute. Okay, I'm the queen of last. It's gonna still be good. It's gonna be good. However, the procrastination be real over here, because I do one thing and then I need a nap, and then I might do one more thing and then need another nap. Anyway, all of. So here's the thing. I've had a lot of opportunity to be grateful. This is the time of year that I start doing my year in review. I ain't waiting until December. That's for amateurs. That's a whole nother story. But I'm doing my year in review, and then I start thinking, well, Lord, you did this for me, and you did that, and you did this. And maybe people do that. I don't know, but this is my thing. And then what I recognize then is, although me and you been riding for a while, people, they see on here as if we did, but we literally got over a decade in this thing. However, the Lord has allowed for me to advance through some things. And my armor bearer was right there beside me to help. Sometimes, she needed to reconfigure and recalibrate her own self to fit into the foolishness of my world. So I really am grateful for you. I am grateful for the growth that God is allowing in your life, and not just maturity, because you mature and you is a big girl now. You is a big girl and help people out in the world, coach. And to be able to say that even the areas and the moments that were a little bit challenging, I can't call them difficult. You've been riding right there beside me, praying, telling people off, getting folks in the corner if they need to put baby in the corner. Like some of my folks need to be in the corner. So that's a whole story. But it is amazing how, and I say this for me, that God knew exactly what I did, and I didn't have to look far for it. I didn't have to go searching for it, because here her is with her lipstick. I think I'm seeing blue. Are we blue today?
Yes, ma'am.
So
yes, ma'am.
blue. I'm so blue. So I'm grateful for you. I could go on and on, y'all. I could tell all her business, but I ain't gonna do that. But God has together at a miraculous time and allowed us to have synergy between us that I hope that people understand when they come on here and when we're doing different things. It's out here. This is a different, we could call it a vibe, whatever you want to call it. I call it anointing. I don't know what your word is. I call it anointing. So that's my thing. I could keep on going because we got Thanksgiving. I'm thankful that I know how to cook. I'm gonna stop right there because I can't leave you in tears. I'm thankful I know how to cook.
Yeah, man, because I took my time to try and get my face a little cutesy on tonight because our guest tonight is so fabulous. So I did not want to be up here looking crazy, but look at you, what you done did. I'm so glad I didn't bother with eyeliner or mascara. How about that? Or I would be sitting here for 90 minutes with the raccoon eye, and that's sure enough not cute. And I know that the Lord would not be pleased with that look for me. How about that? So thank you, Karen. Right. You know how much I absolutely appreciate you, sis. I could take this whole 90 minutes, talk about every last thing you've done to help me continue my growth journey, not only in the natural, but in the spiritual. We were talking at one point about how you've been my accountability partner through so many seasons. And to be able to sit here with my best friend and who shares this passion with me and make it happen, baby, that's something that goes beyond my wildest dreams. You know how I cried like a beat baby when you made the announcement that you were relocating to North Carolina, because at that point, I believe you recognized that God had given me a vision for what we're sitting in now. And at that point in our lives, I could not see how it was going to happen with you being how many states away. But the pandemic happened and I had to learn some things. And baby, look at us now. Hey, look at us now. I praise the Savior. Check it out. So I'm grateful for you, Karen. Not only am I grateful for you, I'm grateful for my care team. How about that? At the Fox Chase Cancer Center down in Philadelphia. I'm happy to sit here today. As you know, I shared this on the platform earlier this year, but y'all know I don't magnify the negative in my life, because at the end of the day, I always rely on the report of the Lord that declared before the beginning of time that I was already healed. So I'm grateful to be cancer-free on tonight. Why do you want to make y'all just, the tears? Why you start, Karen? Had you not started, I would have been able to hold it together. But girl, I sit sometimes and I sit back and I often wonder when people look at me, they see someone who's very well put together and who walks with her head held high and laughs so loud, I could possibly, cause my own little earthquake, my own joy tsunami from time to time. But that joy comes from the Lord, because He is my strength. He is my everything. And y'all already know, I am not ashamed to yell it from the mountaintop. God is everything. He is all that bag of chip plus the dips and an ice cold wild cherry Pepsi. How about that? So, before I keep getting all mushy because I don't have appropriate tissue at my desk on this evening, I want to go ahead and push the conversation forward and get some more hand claps out, Karen, because I think I see a visitor. I think our guest is on site, and we got that home training. Mom and them tried to teach us something. So we gotta make sure we get her in here in a timely fashion. But can I get that drum roll, please, for tonight's super fan shout out?
Oh wait, we gotta get this drum roll.
All right. All right, we got that drum roll. We got that drum roll. And tonight's super fan shout out goes to my good friend, Rhonda Thomas Booth. I have to go ahead and shout my girl out because she walked across the stage this past weekend, y'all, as she has successfully completed her master's study program, and she got that master's degree in psychology, y'all. So I got Karen over here keeping my mind right, but here's the deal. I have the benefit of having access to Rhonda every 5 days a week because we actually work for the same employer. We also sit on the mental health advisory board for Warren County together. And I am so inspired by your entire life, Rhonda. Not only have you kept me mentally whole when we've gone through rough seasons at the division, you have kept me kind of physically fly because you are also my fitness coach. You are fabulous. You are fashionable. You are fly, honey. And I celebrate you tonight. Not only do I celebrate you, I celebrate your wonderful husband, Siebert, and your beautiful children who are following in your footsteps. They are predestined for greatness, just like you and your husband. So, Rhonda, thank you so much for being who you are. Thank you so much for attending the Innistar Trailblazer Awards ceremony for me in my absence and going to pick up that award and making sure it made it to me safely, girl. There are not enough words to express how much I appreciate you, but just know that I love you. And I can't wait to host a conversation with you here on the platform. So, you ready, Karen? We getting ready to bring our guest in the room. Let me get me some water and make sure. Look, I might have to get up from the desk to go get some tissue because I'm trying to tell you this powerhouse that we are bringing on this evening. She well celebrated, well decorated, the wonderful Mrs. Marisol Martinez Colón. I had the awesome opportunity of making her acquaintance while I was running out here in these Lehigh Valley streets, trying to make sure I got my chance to strut my stuff on the runway in the 40 Plus Goddess Fashion Showcase in the Fashion Week. Because, you know, she made sure that we women who are 40 plus and fine had our way on that board. Beauty comes in all shapes and sizes. And Marisol made sure that we were all represented appropriately. And honey, shout out to all of the full-figured and 40 plus divas in the Lehigh Valley. Y'all got it going on, and I'm looking forward to next year's show. Not only is Marisol a trailblazer and a visionary, she's also a very skilled nail tech. All right. Some of her work has been featured abroad in advertisements. She's had conversations. Oh, girl, I've been all over WFMZ and talked to Haciel Cordoba. She's been celebrated by the town that she lives in. I could go on and on and on. And this is another twin flame. When I had the first conversation, it felt like I knew her forever. So welcome to the tribe officially tonight, Marisol. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so honored with all of that. Thank you.
No problem. No problem.
I remember when I met you too. It was your smile. Your smile was like everything.
Well, I often try to share people, you know, I floss and try and keep them as white as possible because, you know, my smile is one of my calling cards. Now, if you ever get the opportunity to let me wrap my arms around you with a hug, I call that an energy exchange. I try and, you know, pour some loving energy when I wrap my arms around people because, you know, in my field of profession, I've come to know that people go through a whole lot of things. And sometimes all they really need to get through to the next step is one big old hug. How about that?
I'm a firm believer of your vibe attracts your tribe. So,
ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Your vibe attracts your tribe. And that's it. And we're going to get into a conversation a little bit later on in the show about frequency. But while we're here, Marisol, I want to go ahead and get into this interview conversation with you. Before we get into it, is there anyone that you would like to acknowledge and give a shout out to at this point?
Oh, okay. So I would like to give a shout out to Siri Melody Jackson Robinson because without her, because I met her over 12 years ago. And so without her Some connections that she has wouldn't happen. Some connections I have wouldn't happen. And this whole community that's happening wouldn't be happening. And so, God first, because he guides everything. He guides our steps. And then shout out to my girl.
Yes, that's wonderful. And you're absolutely correct. It's almost as if y'all popped up out of nowhere and gave the Lehigh Valley exactly what it needed to breathe life in this particular facet of creativity. Everybody often hears a lot about Paris Fashion Week and New York Fashion Week, but baby, we are doing it way big right here in the Lehigh Valley.
She put it on the map.
Okay, yes, she did. And you had a hand in that as well, Marisol.
No, I usually do like behind the scenes stuff. I was never comfortable with the spotlight. I never wanted the spotlight. I'm not a public speaker. I encourage people, but I like behind the scene. Somehow or another, I wound up in the front. And that's how God works sometimes. He takes your desires of your heart that no one knows about and then just puts you out there. And you gotta do it. You gotta do it afraid. That's it.
Tell me about it, because I promise you, when I started this journey, I was like, Lord, I was just playing. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna try something. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try this, and it worked. So let's see how we can build on this and develop this baby to the point that it needs to grow to. Again, now we sitting right here with you and your beautiful face. Now, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your upbringing? Where did you grow up? Because you got this accent going on. We know you wasn't born here in the Valley.
Oh my God. And you know what's so crazy? I fight it all the time, but here we are. I was born and raised in the South Bronx. So
South Bronx.
I'll always be a Bronx
South Bronx. I'm sorry.
I'm always be a Bronx girl. And then my mom moved to Bronxdale Projects. They renamed it to Sotomayor Projects, but I'm not gonna get into that whole thing. But for me, it's Bronxdale Projects. So I was raised there till I was 25, and realized, it's time to get out of here. It's time to move on. I always wanted to move on, but I didn't have some opportunities, let's say, or I didn't know where to go with my creativeness, or the lecture back then was, if you're a creative, that doesn't pay, so go to healthcare, like things like that. But that's who made that. The projects made me who I am. Thick skin, tough girl. One of my brothers got caught up in the whole crack epidemic in the 80s. My other brother moved to Alaska, so I kind of had to deal with being a tough girl on my own, And then met my husband later on, and he was my protector, but that's a whole other story. But it made me who I am. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. It makes for good people, good hardworking people.
Right. I love it. Because I've often heard the phrase concrete rose, right? And you are definitely a rose that was erected in the concrete jungle of the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? But again, all that thick skin and all that savvy, girl, please, it has brought you to where you stand today. I'm curious.
Because I could see, sometimes I could see it coming with that smile. I'm like, that smile looks a little sinister. Then let me back up a little. It saved me so many times, just being observant.
Well, girl, listen.
And that comes from the project. Sometimes, you're standing and you're watching,
You got to look, when you have to live your life with your head on the swivel. That's something that, we sometimes refer to as discernment in the church.
Oh, yes.
And that, of course, we know the discernment is developed over the course of time. And some of us were born into circumstances that required that discernment so we could, make it to be queenagers. You know what I'm saying?
At a young age, too. You had to see it coming at a young age in those circumstances.
Oh yes, oh yes. So, speaking of circumstances, because you've already made reference to, you had to be a tough girl, and then you experienced growing up into adulthood in the Bronx. How did those circumstances impact your choices? Were your choices impacted? Was there some trauma that kind of
Yeah.
sidetracked you along the
Oh
way?
yes, yes. Well, yeah, going it's so hard sometimes to go back there mentally, but it's good because I want other women to see what 53 looks like coming out of trauma and healed. So if we have to go back there, then so be it. um I had to learn a lot of things on my own. um it was just a lot. It was a lot growing up. So how it shaped me. For one, I wanted to get out of my home quickly and as fast as possible because of the circumstance. So I thought that love was the answer, so to speak. So when I met my son's biological father, I said, okay, this is it. This is my gateway. But in retrospect, that might have not been the best decision. So that's how my environment impacted some of my decisions. Like, okay, I'm going to hurry up and get out of here. So this nice guy offered to, get me out. And so I went. But that's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed
Mm-hmm.
to be the way, for me at least, I thought it would be in steps. But God is a God of grace and mercy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to go back home and deal with, and heal through all of that, and reacquaint myself with my husband that I've known since I was like 10 years old. And he was like a Joseph to my son, not to equate the whole thing, but you know what I'm saying? Like the whole
Yeah.
stepfather thing. You think that at that stage, I'm 21, I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, I have to raise this kid by myself. But he's my best friend, he's my buddy. And then we started dating, and he became the best stepdad. So God made sure to take care of his people regardless. So, even though I might have went the non-traditional route, so to speak, um, God gave me beauty for ashes. And so I became the woman at the well. Sorry. I became the woman at the well.
That's okay, sis. I'm gonna give you a moment to let the Holy Spirit move
Absolutely.
on you with what you're supposed to say next, because I believe everything coming out of your mouth is divinely purposed by God in this moment. What you've shared to this point is a collective testimony, right, Karen?
Oh, oh, I promise. I don't know what the traditional way is. I know I've seen it in other folks, but Marisol, this is one of the things. I've just entered the 6th week of my very first marriage during my 50th year. Okay. So just turned 50, got married once.
Yes.
So when we say that God knows, and we don't always know how our journey can affect and impact other people. And I didn't know it until I started sharing it. And people, they want to celebrate you. That's amazing. But it took me um 50 years to understand what God was doing the entire time. So you might hear people say, this was the non-traditional way, or I'm late to the party. The party didn't start till I got here. So I don't know what y'all talk about. But
Amen.
when God does a thing, it's like, when you go through those singleness, and it's like, oh Lord, I need to fix it. And we say that sometimes as a haphazard thing, but sometimes, and I get it, for me, the fixing needed to happen with me, because I didn't want to bring a
Right.
brokenness into another situation. Now, everything is like, ooh, perfect. You know, oh my goodness. You know, I'm, you know, watching the cloud go by and the water that he walks on don't get dirty. That ain't what's happening. But I thank God because he allowed me to, you know, kind of see things my way. And that's something that I think, you know, we coming up against what that traditional thought is, because, and Tilted, no, I say this all the time, sometimes we are presented with many of our church untruths when it comes to what is that underlying thing that you're supposed to do, versus give us the whole picture and let's bring that to God. Like, bring me the truth.
And I honestly believe that my first relationship would have never been able to deal with what I dealt with, you know. So my husband helped me raise my brother's children. And so we were a newlywed couple with toddlers and four other children. So we had a family of 6 really quick for many, many, many years. And he helped me with that. He helped me, you know, he helped me raise not only my son, our daughter, my brother's children. He helped me with my parents. Who does that? Somebody that has to be meant for you, your soulmate.
Oh, yeah.
And then he got sick and had a brain tumor. So then I had to step in and do all those other things that he had done for me all those years prior. So, you know, so all that to say that that's how it shaped me. You know, it made me who I am. It made me strong. You know, it made me empathetic, compassionate, all that stuff. But at the same time,
that you were
sometimes I can't sit in the feminine energy too long because of you know, having to manage so much in traumatic situations. So, you know, I'm authentic, I feel comfortable, but it'll take it if I'm not feeling it, then I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
Girl, listen, that's an amazing thing. I love that. I appreciate you talking about the journey with your husband and the challenges that not only you face, but that you were able to be conquerors and overcomers in, you know, even those situations came. Can you talk a little about a little bit more about the health challenge that you had with your husband and how that worked to as you were talking about your reversal of roles of you know, him normally doing stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about what that experience did for you?
Okay, so I will have to give you a little bit of backstory so you could so I want the viewers to understand the depth of this. So he was sick for a couple of weeks. And I wasn't, you know, we weren't getting any answers from the doctors that made sense to why he was getting these symptoms, you know. And then we would drive in the car and the car would gear to the left. And I said, well, you need a wheel alignment. And we went to get a wheel alignment and the guy says, you don't need a wheel alignment. So now I'm thinking, well, maybe there's something wrong. I don't understand something's not right with my husband. So I wrote in my journal because I journal. I've been journaling since I was like 14 years old. So I journal and I wrote there, I said, dear God, you have to give me answers. Like I need answers within 2 weeks and then I put a time frame in there. I said, you need to give me answers because I don't know what's going on. Anyway, long story short, we couldn't stay in the apartment we were living in because he lost his job due to being out sick. So we moved to the other side of town. But, you know, hey, I come from the projects. So the other side of town over here is like it's a walk in the park, really. So I said, okay, we're going to move to the other side. So we moved to the other side of town. And I sent him to go get a drink, a glass from the cabinet. And he says, you know, he goes to get the drink. I mean, he goes to get the cup from the cabinet and the cabinet is tilting like it's going to fall on him. And I'm shouting, whoa, whoa, whoa. Anyway, it fell on him and he got cut on I think it was his left side. He got cut. So we went to the hospital and they found the brain tumor. So you see how the story goes? When God, he will answer you. He will
Yes.
ask you. It doesn't matter if you write it, if you think it, if you're feeling it, that communication is there. Okay. So
Yes.
they left him in the hospital once they saw that the tumor was there, they left him there. And then that was when I thought that the fight was there, but actually the actual struggle and the recovery really started after the fact, because I had so much faith, and God gave me all the people that I needed at that moment in my time, in my life, because all my family was in Florida. I had no family out here, and I was only out here maybe 3 years before he had the brain injury. So this was like 18 years ago, 17 years ago. And so I had some work friends that became family, and they're still close to me. I love them dearly. They helped me. I was going to a church because God led me to a church. And so I went to a church and they helped me. It was incredible how God provided. But it was a struggle. They had to determine how they were going to operate on this tumor that was like a tree, and it had a lot of little roots and veins, and that's why he was gearing to the left in the car, because it was in charge of his cognitive, his coordination, and his blood pressure. So that's a doozy, because like, how they're going to put it back the right way?
Right.
So I did get a brand new person, and I do see the old, not to say the OG, because he's still there. He still is the OG, but I had to learn a lot of new mannerisms, nuances. Like, he used to like this, but now he doesn't like this. And, so it was dating like all over again, getting to know the person all over again. Actually, it's a little bit better this time, to be honest, because now he dances.
You funny.
I love it.
He didn't like to dance. He would hold up the wall. And so I would be like, oh my God, And look, God gave me a dance song.
Hey.
Like, let's go on the dance floor.
Love it.
So, my faith is real strong, because the doctor told me, Miss Colón, this, he only has a 30% chance of survival. And I was so upset, because I said to myself, oh my God, I struggle all this time, and then this is how it's going to go down? No, I don't accept it, right? And so I told the doctor, I said, you don't know my God. And so I professed it. I feel like at that moment, God understood. I understood, I understood. I professed it out loud in front of a room, like with maybe 30 people in there. And I told the doctor, I said, you don't know the God that I worship. He's very strong. My husband's very strong. You don't know the God that I worship, and everything's going to be just fine. I don't accept that. Like, don't put that on me that he got 30%. Don't put that on me. That's not my decision. That's God's decision. So I threw it back. And look what happened. They said that the operation was going to take 5 hours. It took 10. They said that he wasn't going to be able to give any signs of, like he was going to be in a coma for 5 days. None of that. When he came out rolled up, he put his thumbs up. I was like, oh, I told you. And then it was only 5 hours. So, he still there's still some health issues there. The blood pressure is going to always have its ups and downs. We just got to watch what he eats, but don't we all?
Right.
He has he has a few little things going on, but they're little compared to, if I feel like if I would have accepted what that doctor was telling me, then guess what? That's what would have happened. But I was not willing to put that on me. I like anytime that anybody speaks something like super negative, I'd be like, "Ooh, girl, get out of here with that." Oof. I don't even put it on me, because I know how I am, then that's what's going to happen.
Exactly. And we always have to be mindful of what we put out in the atmosphere, because again, yours is an amazing testimony. We had some off-air conversation, and you shared with me how this experience actually turned out for your good. And you actually were able to successfully renew your vows during a time when it actually looked impossible. And what I believe the hospital you're connected to actually got some media airplay from
Yes.
from this testimony. Talk to me about that.
Yes. Okay, so it was during COVID time, a lot of people, rest in peace to everybody that passed away. That was a really, really hard and traumatic time, very hard and traumatic time. But at the same time, in my circumstance, it brought a lot of things. It brought closure in certain relationships, it brought clarity, it brought my relationship closer, all that. So our 30th anniversary had passed, and we were looking for a venue, looking, but nobody, because COVID. So I was like, oh darn, I don't know what's gonna happen. And because I wasn't a member at any particular church, that wasn't an option. So I called Pastor Carrie. I love Pastor Carrie. Mwah, mwah, mwah. So I called Pastor Carrie, and I said, let's pray. She talked me through it with some ideas, and then I said, let's pray over the phone. We prayed over the phone, and right there at that moment, it was like downloaded. Shh. I said, wait a minute. Right after the prayer, I said, I'm gonna contact LVHN Hospital's marketing person and see if we could do it in the chapel, because I spent so much time in the chapel of the hospital. I would be there on a regular basis. So I said, well, what better place, right? What better place than to do it there? What better place? So I made a few
Great
phone
idea.
calls. No, I didn't. God is something else, because I can't even take credit. For that. But I made a few phone calls, and God worked it out, and it made it happen. And then it was all over. Okay, so remember that I said I did not want the spotlight, because I did not. It was viewed in Poconos. My story was viewed in WFMZ all over the Lehigh Valley. And then more than 12,000 employees read our story and saw it on YouTube. I was like, oh my God. So the story of God, faith, hope, marriage, all that was in there. And I felt good. It was good to be able to encourage other women. And because it's not easy. Some days I thought I was going to die, it's a lot. And then some days you're like, yeah, I could do this. I got this. And some days you're like, oh, not again. And then, you have to keep a schedule. And I feel like I have a little bit of adult ADD or something, because I'm sometimes everywhere. And so doing this with the appointments and keeping track, and, it was kind of good for me. And then when all that slowed down, I said, I got to do something with my life now. Because my daughter's grown, my son is grown. My husband graduated from rehab. Shout out. He graduated. So his therapy is different now. He gets different kinds of therapies. So, what I do with that time. And then I remembered, I love nails. So I started just picking up my hobby all over again. Went back to school, got my license. So now I do the whole nail thing too.
Yes, you do, girl. And you do them quite well. Thank you for the images you shared with me before the show. I hate that both of us were both in our ADD zone, and I wasn't able to put together something to showcase your work. But y'all already know we got the woman, the living legend herself, Marisol Martinez Colón, sitting in with us tonight here on the platform. I got to take a pause for the comment calls, because we got some people in the chat
that we
do go ahead and show some love. Yes. I saw the homie from Reading, Bliv Mash, tuned in on tonight. Thank you for joining us. Shout out to the homie Yolanda Lucas, all right, who's out here sharing the stream. Hey, listen, we do what we do for you, girl, and for everybody else you shared it with. So thank you so much for helping to put Unhinged Live on the map, Yolanda. I really appreciate you. There are so many of you all that I can't really see because you haven't signed up for StreamYard. All right. Now, look, I'm sitting here in the studio and I see Facebook user. Gone over to StreamYard and sign up for absolutely FREE StreamYard account. That's right. I spelled it out because I need y'all to understand. It is free 99. There is no obligation. But I would like to be able to look in the chat so I can call your name out instead of always having to rely on one of these 4 screens that I have sitting in front of me. Yes, I too have an undiagnosed. I believe I have an undiagnosed case of adult ADD that helps me keep up with it all. I want to ask you briefly, because time is of the essence, Marisol, what inspired you to connect with the clique with Lehigh Valley Fashion Week?
Oh my God, it's all God. I didn't even look for these opportunities. I'm telling you, they just literally fell out the sky. I think I called Siri because I saw something going on, and then I called her up, and I believe she needed help backstage. So I'm occupying my time doing backstage. Somebody was late with the makeup. So I said, oh, I'll do it because I know how to do makeup. I like artists. So I do makeup, do all that. So I was backstage doing makeup, doing hair. And I remember one time she was just like, you know what? I think I'm going to put you in our next show. And I was like, oh, no, you're not. No, you're not putting me in your next show. She was like, oh, yes. Girl, when I found out, I almost threw up. I was so nervous. She said she centered the show entirely around me, the 40 plus goddess. There was a whole poster. There was the entrance. I was just like, oh my God, so overwhelmed. I couldn't even believe it. I couldn't believe it. So it's just literally, and like I said, the desires of your heart. When I was 15 years old, I went for an interview in Manhattan for modeling, but back then 42nd Street was a no-no.
Yes.
Oh my God, the building that I went into, that smile that I told you about, that's what saved me. I got out of the elevator, number 5. I remember I got out of the elevator, 5th floor. I walked out and it sounded eerie, when you hear your shoes. Okay? And then I turned. Listen, I walked. You got to picture it. Coming out of the elevator, walk, you get out. And when I looked, there was like a guy at the end of the hallway and he smiled and he went like this. I ran the hell out of there so fast. I didn't even go back in the elevator. I took the stairs, ran down, and I took the 6 train all the way back home. Because that smile. And you know what? Back then, a lot of girls were disappearing in the 80s.
That's right. That's right.
That probably saved my life. That smile. He said he smiled and he said like that to come. I was like, oh no. It felt
I know that's right. God will definitely allow you to feel things. We talked about that discernment earlier in the show. So I'm so glad that you had that with you in that day and age, because I've had similar experiences when I used to run into.
I didn't know what it was. You just know like, oh, that's not good.
Well, that's that. Look, that was that casting couch call. That's what that was.
Yeah.
And many of us know that that's not what we were born to do. And God didn't create us to be that type of female, and we weren't willing to lay down nor sell our soul for fame. So we would allow God to allow it to happen in due season. But that's a whole nother conversation with me.
It's true.
So Marisol, you are a wealth of information, creativity, and knowledge. And I see Coach Cash, was that the church finger?
No, I'm agreeing. Like the whole challenge was there with that running up Saturday.
Right. But look, I want to make sure that our listeners know how to get in contact with you, Marisol. Because before I ask her, release her to share her contact information, she's going to stay with us for the whole show, y'all. So stay tuned because it's about to get real up in here. All right. So Marisol, can you share with our listeners how they can connect with you?
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram at Girl Talk Nails. It's the same on Facebook, Girl Talk Nails. Girl.talk.nails at Instagram, TikTok. I have some really cute TikTok videos, guys. You better go check them out.
I know that's right. And look,
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, it's not easy. We got to learn all this technology. So I'm putting this out there.
Girl, listen, and look, while you're putting that out there, I also want to share with y'all that Marisol is also a powerful prayer warrior. She also has the FB prayer station on Facebook, where she shares daily encouragements and she interacts with the members of the group. So if y'all want to find it, FB prayer station on Facebook, because the three of us here, we're women of purpose, power, and prayer. Because we're wise enough to know that without God, we would be absolutely nothing.
That is the honest truth.
Mm-hmm. So check it out, y'all. You've tuned in to Unhinged Live. We are about to move the show along because we got a lot in store for you all on tonight. Of course, we're about to get into another celebratory music break. Ain't that right? DJ Cash. Ain't that right, DJ?
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Listen, we shouted her out on our last broadcast and played one of the new songs on her project. And again, it's my honor to bring to y'all tonight our songbird sister friend, Sister Sharice Hackett. And tonight's song, what's it called, Karen?
I'm blessed.
All right. So
I'm blessed.
All right, we're gonna shake our shoulders to Sharice Hackett, and I'm blessed. We'll be right back.
Here we go.
What's up? When I think of all God has done for me, how He reached out in the nick of time, pulling me out of a burning world of sin. He set me free, gave me life abundantly. Everywhere that I go, He keeps me for sure. Gotta let the whole world know I'm blessed. I'm blessed. When I look around me, I'm blessed. Yes, I am. Grace is what He gives me every day. When I rise up early every morning, brand new mercies I see. As a matter of fact, whatever I need, He's got my back. All the praise and the honor I forever give to Him. I'm so grateful. I am. I am blessed. Yes, I am. On a fire. No, it won't work. When I feel in a city, when I come, when I'm going, Jesus is all that I want. He's all that I need. He is everything to me. He's my daily bread. My head is the one. Oh. Raise your hands in the air if you've been surely blessed. If God's done anything for you, stand up and confess that you've been blessed.
I introduce to you Get You Home Towing, a family company with the sole purpose to get you home. Whether you need roadside assistance or transport services, we have a flatbed big enough to transport any vehicle to its destination. Our offer to you is our gratitude and great service at a much cheaper price. We are also open to transport through long distances. If you need us, all you have to do is call that number. I'll see you soon.
All right, all right, all right. We back. We are Unhinged Live. I'm your girl, Tilted Halo, also known in these streets as your auntie, as your favorite cousin, and them. Your girl, Keita, sitting alongside my good girlfriend, Karen Sims Harrell, also known as Coach Cash. And hanging out with us tonight is the beautiful Mrs. Marisol Martinez Colón. Thanks for hanging in here with us, sis. We about to get into a little bit more of tonight's show. Tonight's flow, and we're about to grab our remote controls. We're about to grab our remote controls. Hold on, let me get my throat together because y'all know I got a little chirp to do a little bit. Hold on.
I got two tonight. I got two remote controls.
Yeah,
tonight.
because it's all kind of stuff, you know. Anyway, here we go. Are we ready? It's time to point your remote control at your TV screen. Merrily, find something to stream or listen to on an audio book. Yes, you already know what it is. We're about to chop it up over some of the entertainment pieces that we've enjoyed over the course of this past week. You know, I always make time for something, and Karen and I are both probably going to be up around 4:00 tomorrow morning. Waiting for, because I know I'm anticipating the next episode of Black Cake. We got into a discussion about that series last week. It's being featured on Hulu. So, you know, of course, I took my journey down the stream this weekend, and I absolutely enjoyed Netflix's new presentation of the movie that features Brandy Norwood herself, with her singing self. The best Christmas ever. And it's got some notables featured in the film alongside her. And it's a wonderful Christmas story about how old friends are reconnected by the mischievous behavior of a child who didn't necessarily follow the instructions that his mother gave him. He plugged in this woman she had kind of been trash talking about. He plugged her address in to the GPS, and they thought they were on the way to her sister's house, just simply relying on the GPS. And they rolled up to the home of Brandy's character. And let me tell you something. This was an hour and a half or so of, oh my gosh, rises and falls. It was an emotional journey. And you got to see, not for nothing, how sometimes women can be very, very petty when they really believe that another woman's lifestyle is too good to be true. You can put yourself in a situation where you look absolutely crazy, because that's exactly what Brandy, the character who was playing opposite the female character, that's what she did in this season. But we also got to see how that relationship was repaired by the power of forgiveness. And then understanding came, because, you know, the female character playing opposite of Brandy, she got hold of some information, again, where she had made an assumption. They had, you know, their town was in the habit of sending out a family newsletter once a year to give an update, you know, what's happened in their lives over the past year. And what was the word? Splendiferous. Brandy wrote that she was having a splendiferous year, but she didn't share in the newsletter that she had actually lost her son. He had actually passed away over the year. So she spun what she wrote to make it seem like he was still alive and living his dream of changing the world and actually creating a solar-powered hot air balloon that could travel around the world. And again, I believe the character, what's her name? It's Heather Graham, I believe her name is.
Yep.
Heather Graham was the female character playing opposite of Brandy. And Heather, in her own haze of crazy, had an epiphany moment where her eyes were open and she got to see that her friend had actually suffered the loss of a child. And it was actually amazing to watch how these two women embrace one another in this journey and actually began to build something together as a result of this. Brandy's character again forgave and reminded her that people are the things that are most important, or the things that are most important in life, not your clothes, not your car, not your clout, but it's
a family company with the sole purpose to get you home.
I guess somebody might need some help with a toe. That
What I said right now, listen, they are get you home towing. They are
get
out
you home towing, got
in
you
the neighborhood down here.
I cannot.
Got you. They got you. I love it.
So yeah, so it was just a great movie. I actually enjoyed it.
What?
I hit the double thumbs up on Netflix at the end.
I'm gonna have to check it out. I didn't check it out, but I'm gonna have to definitely check it out.
Girl, it was real good.
I still side-eyed the little boy though, because it wasn't no punishment, and we all the way across the world. Like, I don't know where the sister was supposed to live at, but after a couple of hours of leaving Arizona, and I don't know if they was in Utah, I don't know where they ended up, but I will say the character development that went on in this film, I just thought it was really good. It was realistic in some aspects, because we always have that those folks who side eye, and then we always got folks who seems like maybe they might be bragging. So I'm gonna say at the beginning of the movie, I was with Charlotte. I was like, I don't know why, because I may or may not have family members that write these letters, okay? And then it's like, wait, what we doing with this here? But I appreciated the direction of nobody's life is perfect. Everybody is the challenge, just because you don't see it. And it wasn't that Brandy's character, her name was Jacqueline, and then the other woman's name was Charlotte. It wasn't that Jackie's life was so perfect and that she was trying to jam it down people's throat. She was trying to spread the joy even in the midst of sorrow. So her thought was, well, this is what we doing. And come to find out, then Charlotte, after all those years of talking back about the letter, her husband was sending back. They were sending letters back. So it was all fun.
Sometimes I think that sometimes people have problems being vulnerable, because if you're vulnerable, that means that you're trusting that other person with all this information. And so sometimes vulnerability equates to some type of weakness. But if you can't be vulnerable, then where is your authenticity? Like, where does it lie? Girl, I did healing. I healed. God healed me. God healed me.
Yes.
And if you can't walk in your truth, whatever it is, and you can't walk it in and be one with it, and it's gonna be harder and harder.
Yeah,
it will. And they did show how they came together. So that was one of the areas where it's like they didn't leave, because some of these movies, both of you get into the middle of it and it's like, okay, what happened? Like, was there resolution? But there was resolution, not just for this family. It was a night thing. So like, they showed the progression. And to me, that's the most realistic part, for people to be reminded, sometimes you're healing, you're delivering. Sometimes you just putting down your petty ways. It's a process. It's not just like poof, and it's all gonna, you just gonna be all better one day. So really appreciated that. Really appreciated that.
I got the church finger up. Before we go into the next conversation about the next view. Who is this? We see Marie Luesi in the comments. What's up, girl?
Yes.
Isn't Black Chick awesome? And I see Mental Impact Radio in the chat. Thank you. You are a new viewer with us on tonight. So thank you for listening and tuning in. I hope you're enjoying what we're sharing here on the platform. So Karen, I see that you wrote down another something that you went merrily down the stream with.
I did. I actually, both of the movies, this was sort of like boo time. So if I select a rom-com, I usually try to balance it out with some male energies. So we actually, Alfred and I watched on video, we watched the Tyler Perry documentary, Maxine's Baby. Very insightful. A lot of Tyler Perry things that I didn't know. My husband Alfred, he reads and does audiobooks a lot. So he heard some of the things in, I guess, an autobiography. I gotta go snatch that up so I can learn more. But the impact that Tyler made was not without sacrifice, was not without trauma. And I mean some abuse. Let's just call it what it is. It wasn't. It was like regular trauma of I'm poor. There was some abuse that was there. That it caused you to get a little bit more. That some things make his drive. The reason why he couldn't stop, like in the face of his parents saying, like, you wasting your time. I ain't got it. He had me laughing because he said he had borrowed money from his mom for a show flopped. So for those of you who don't, Tyler Perry started on the theater circuit, and he had put together a show and didn't nobody show up. Come on now, y'all. And mama said, where am I supposed to get this $300 before I got to pay? She totally cussed him out. That's all we're going to say for that. However, she was like, you need to give this up and go on and get a regular job and carry my $300 back. He talked about so much failure that he had experienced before he even saw the inkling of success. And y'all know I'm here for a good documentary all day long, but inspirational, real, knowing the people that he honored, knowing the significance of his sound stages and the production company that he has in Atlanta right now. So the biggest thing was that the land that he owns used to be a Confederate land. And so it was like the army owned it, and they had to get it from the army, buy it, purchase it. And now this is one of the hottest movie studios in the world. Okay, can we just say that? In the world.
Everybody want to be in Atlanta.
That part. But here's the challenge that I think was the biggest thing, is that he kept going. He didn't allow the obstacles to crush his dream. Yes, he had to regroup and do things. Also had a team. I ain't gonna give us some reflections of purpose right now, but I promise you, Tyler, I was like, all right, Tyler, Mr. Perry, we about to do something with this. There was a lot that was said in that movie. Not every relationship has been healed. There was some family secrets out. Some challenges that his mom had, some challenges that his dad had, even cousins, and then everybody everywhere. But kudos to him for telling the story, and that's all I'm gonna say for right now, because more than that, go ahead over there and watch it. You may or may not shed a tear, be like a oh my goodness moment. Like I'm praying for Tyler, because Lord have mercy, the abuse that he it's a lot. It is definitely a lot, but he overcame, and we can be overcomers in Christ. He actually started in the church. They had the background of him actually being like in a choir and doing dramatics at Bishop Morton's church. So for those of you who are on the secular side, PJ Morton's father, that one. Okay. So I just thought that was a way that they did it.
Listen, I actually put it in that. I actually intend to watch that this weekend while I have time to unpack it. You actually read my chapter that we published in The Depths and Diversity Within Relationships. So you are familiar with my childhood of trauma, and I can absolutely attest to what you're saying, and to the testimony of Tyler Perry. You do not have to become a product of your circumstance. I'm again grateful that while I was that little, naughty head girl in the children's shelter in Santa Clara County, California, I'm grateful for the band of missionaries who came in with that acoustic guitar and taught me the very first scripture I ever memorized. And that actually, in that moment at 9 years old, is when I fell in love with Jesus, because I heard about a man who would love me when my father and mother would forsake me. But that's for a whole nother show. All right. Because I'm watching the time, and we are Unhinged Live, and we are fitting to get all the way live, y'all. We about to transition into it. What's really going on?
What's really going on?
What's really going on? What's really going on? What's really going on?
What's really?
What's really
really?
What's really
On and on and on and on and on.
Listen. We're about to get into it. But I got a little something I want y'all to listen to. If y'all would lend me your ear. I have a little something that went viral on this week. I thought this was the appropriate time to have this conversation. We're getting ready to go to these family gatherings. So check it out, y'all.
I'm calling out all the parents. If you're a parent and your child is in pre-K to elementary school to high school, I'm calling you out. The children today, I have never experienced, and I'm 22. Having to teach and work with you guys as children has been the most traumatic experience of my life. I teach 5-year-olds ballet. 5-year-old girls ballet. I have a class of 10 students. They don't respect any authority. You ask them, can you stand in your designated spot? They're telling you no and shut up. They're throwing things at each other. They're throwing things at other people, other classmates. You say, can everybody sit in their spot? I don't want to. I'm not doing that. You don't get to tell me what to do. You're not my mom. You confront the parent. The parent tries to argue with you and fuss at you because you tried to reprimand and redirect their kid. I told a young little girl, please sit in your spot. You're not my mom. You don't tell me what to do. Okay. When her mom came to pick her up, I said, hey, your daughter's having a hard time following instructions. And 7 times today, I've had to redirect her to just sit in her spot. Well, clearly she didn't want to sit. And mind you, this is a mom. Clearly she didn't want to sit right there. So, I mean, if she's telling you she don't want to do something, why keep asking her to do it? You know she's not going to do it. What world do we live in? Like, what in you guys' brain as a parent says, my kid not following any directions is a great thing. It's not that serious. And y'all don't have a right to tell her what to do. It's sad. It's sad. It's really, really sad. And another thing that's heart-wrenching is horrifying. It is horrifying. Your 5-year-old daughters are asking to listen to Pound Town and Ski Yee. Your daughters, your 5-year-old daughters are asking, can we hear Pound Town? I'm playing them Princess Tiana ballet music. And they are asking me, can we hear Pound? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And I'm so scared for these little girls today because this is the most insane agenda push I have ever seen in my life. We do freeze dance. You guys' daughters are twerking at 5. 5. Where's the parenting? Where's the boundaries? Where's the help? Y'all are not helping your kids. You're hurting them. You guys are hurting them. I come every day dressed, ready to go, and I'm in school too. I'm in college. I mean, I put bows in my hair. I'm wearing leotards. I'm trying to get them interested in like proper things for their age, and you guys are exposing your kids to this raunchy secular music. Why is you guys' 5-year-old's daughter singing Pound Town? And it's just really, 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 it's upsetting.
Girl, that made me cry.
Right now, you already know. I felt this young lady when I first ran across this viral video, to the point, of course, I had to take it and put it in here so we could do our best to unpack this. We're mothers, the three of us. We have daughters. And I don't, and you know, Karen and I, you and I have the background in education. You know, I spent 18 years in special ed, where I was able to love on and mentor hundreds of young men and women over the course of time. And some, and, you know, there were different impairments and disabilities represented in the organization where I was formerly employed. And sometimes when they had trouble with the young ladies, they would bring them to my office because they recognized I would, you know, steer them a little bit in the right direction by simply having loving conversations with them and teaching them how to leave a little something to the imagination, and reminding them in my own way that they are fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God. And that some things should be entirely left up to the imagination as far as what they put on display in pursuit of that particular young man that they had a crush on for the moment. It breaks my heart to hear a young lady in the year 2023 who is 22 years old, who's doing her part in trying to introduce these young women to positive creativity that could take them to places they can't even imagine if they would only take the time to listen. Now, I know what it's like to stand in the front office by myself in stilettos and have to talk a parent down because they got a text message or a phone call from the bathroom from their child complaining about something that the teacher did. When they show up at the school, they want to talk trash and jump all over people. So I'm grateful to have worked with an administration that did thorough investigation and brought everybody to the table to hash out what really happened and what's really going on. And come to find out, more often than not, these children displayed those acting out behaviors simply being redirected to do the right thing, being redirected right as opposed to wrong. Now, we're all women of faith here, and many of you in our listening audience are too. We know that this is already written in the scriptures that we study, and we're supposed to apply to our hearts as we walk out our daily lifestyle. We are living in a time where right is actually becoming wrong and wrong is actually becoming right. And, you know, this brings so many questions to the forefront. What is our responsibility as parents? We can't dictate to anyone how they should raise their children in their household, because again, everybody's not churched. Everybody doesn't have the same core foundational system in place to go ahead and raise world changers. All right. Or maybe they're making the choice to raise world changers for the dark side as opposed to the light. I want to go ahead and toss the mic to Karen, because you sit at a higher level in leadership than I do in your experience with these young folks. And then you got Mimi's tribe that you're lovingly overseeing. Talk to us, Karen. What are your thoughts on this video?
So not surprising. And I said that earlier to somebody, you know, the raising of kids today is definitely a super difficult one because there is way more exposure things, because somebody had to listen to, watch, and present the twerking, the bad language videos to these 5-year-olds. 5-year-olds don't pay no bills nowhere. Many of them do have cell phones. I think I have 2 that don't have cell phones, but they are electronics. And then it's sort of like, what's the age for it? The thing is that back in our day, because we queenagers, all of us here are queenagers, the parents would tell you leave the room. You would be in a room with your cousins while they watch the adult TV stuff. Now it's a family affair. The challenge with it is that our children, our grandchildren and children are being desensitized in a way that they don't understand the harm that they are themselves into. So, my heart is it like I'm not weepy when I hear this girl. I'm angry because communities need me's, they need aunties, they need big cousins, they need all of the things. And what Natural D is saying, it's like there's no one that's either telling them something, or the level of exposure that they have is just too much, too much. And I promise you, I usually am fussing at my children. Oh no, we ain't doing that. Oh no, I don't care what the people in the neighborhood are doing. Not my babies. We not gonna do that. And then I talk to my grandchildren even in a way that maybe their parents won't, because what I'm gonna do is have to deal with you on a milk carton because nobody didn't understand what this leads to. A lot of times we talk about how there are entry drugs, as if the attention seeking is not a drug. And these kids will not understand how to move forward in shifting themselves when they are presented with bad and unsafe situations. Marisol, you talked about the possibility of the human trafficking. Our daughters are able to be snatched up because they don't see anything wrong with it. We have to create boundaries for them. And it's an interesting thing because, when we see these young ladies at college level, and we talk about, the one thing we didn't talk about, we ain't talked about Diddy, we ain't talked about the 30 million that he about to lose in the change purse, but we also didn't talk about the rape culture that we all grew up in, because we didn't name it that. It didn't have that name. We were growing up in the rape culture where this was normalized in a different way. Credit cards being swiped up and down, bodily parts, that became the norm for us. But then somebody told us how to separate ourselves. I think the biggest thing is I'm not seeing it at a high level of our young girls being told that might happen over there, but you don't have to be a part of that. So that's listen, I could go on and on. Mimi don't play that. Mine know girls and boys. It's not just the little girl and young ladies that are being abducted now. They taking everybody. So we have to all across the board remind ourselves of what we are creating for responsibilities for our young men as well. Y'all know. So Marisol, I am Mimi, call it grandma, but I'm too fly for that. Mimi to 10 loving individuals. And so when I tell you, we not playing that. I don't care what their mama and daddy say. When Mimi and each one of them have a conversation, they already know, shut that down. We're not even doing that. So that may not be today's parenting appropriate technique, but that's what I'm doing. I'm coming through and we everything. Okay? Everything.
Look, I see you over there, Marisol. It's like you getting ready to jump into that double dutch that we you waiting to get in on this conversation. Go ahead, girl.
I could relate to all of that. It's true. I think that no matter the religion, it boils down to respect. The parents are not teaching their children how to love themselves and how to have self-respect and how to respect their elders. Back in the day, if I was to tell my neighbor that her name was Doña Julia, may she rest in peace, if I was to tell her, she would knock on my mother's door and then say, Marisol was rude today, and then my mother's gonna beat my behind, or I'm gonna get punished, or something's gonna happen. There's not a consequence. So I think that it boils down to like total respect. The parents are not respecting themselves. They don't respect the kids. And that's all in the Bible anyway. I mean, it says it right there. Everybody's gonna go after each other. Judas is on the prowl. We just gotta keep praying for them and then communicating. Like I teach my grandson not to tell secrets and not to keep secrets. there's no adult that should be telling you to keep a secret from anybody, not from your grandma, not from your mom, not from your dad, nobody. You know, we go through the whole drill. When you go to the bathroom in school, you know, like we drill. And it's a shame that you have to, but you have to.
You have to. No.
You have to. So I'm on that, you know, that like where I feel for the teachers nowadays, like why are the parents allowing their children to be so disrespectful to someone who's trying to teach your child something? And plus you're paying for that ballet class. Like you're paying for the ballet class. Why would you want your kid to act the same way that they act at home then? There.
Right? Well,
Girl,
look, do you
that
think
would not be my daughter, because I'll take her by her ear right out of that ballet class. I tell you that.
Listen, do you think that maybe some of these parents see that there's, you know, the children are gifted to dance, and maybe they enrolled them in ballet in an effort to get them to learn a new dancing style outside of all the twerkaliciousness that's going on?
I hope so. I hope that, you know what, that's a really good positive way to look at it. I hope that it gets better for this teacher.
Right? Because again,
I agree with that. I agree with that statement, Tilted. I think my only challenge is, you know, one apple can spoil the bunch, because she is giving the account of everybody, you know, so peer pressure, but it's only one or maybe two children that are acting up. And to me, it's like, listen, back in the day, we would spend the money, and if your kid acted up, they kicked you out and you got no refund. That's a whole different conversation when you really didn't have the money to send the kid to.
That's a whole different butt whooping too.
Auntie, okay. So, okay.
Or maybe the other parents could get together and tell the, you know, and complain to the teacher, like, something got to be done because my kid is here for ballet. What's going on? You're disrupting the class for everybody else that wants to learn.
Right? But it's an interesting situation because, you know, while this video began to circulate, you know, a new album was released recently. A lot of the people, the vloggers and those who just comment on just about everything under the sun, they refer to him as 3 Stacks. I'm referring to the creative genius himself, Andre 3000. One half of Outkast. Shout out to Big Boy. But Andre released an album this past weekend. And what made me really press to make sure I got it in to prepare to have this conversation for tonight's show was I saw a bunch of negative reviews saying that the album was trash. So I'm thinking, wait a minute, I've been riding with this dude for a minute. Hey y'all. Now check it out.
Like a Polaroid picture.
But I'm saying we've been riding with Dre, and we know and have come to embrace the creativity that is known as Outkast. So of course I jumped on the Andre 3000 album on the Spotify subscription that I pay for monthly. Shout out to Spotify because y'all keep me right. So I goes down to the kitchen with my surround sound Bluetooth hooked up, and I'm like, okay, let me see what they're talking about. So baby, those of you who follow me on my regular page, you saw that I was like, yo, 2 songs in, I was sitting there like, now I'm your listen, I got to cleaning and reflecting, and I found myself in the middle of
Lord.
My soul. It was like, and because I'm a former choir director, I still sing and have a musical ear. So I'm sitting here listening to this, and I noticed that it wasn't recorded in a loud frequency. I couldn't hit the volume trying to turn it up, but it would only go so high.
Sometimes I want to blow my eardrums with the
I was trying to let this sound flow all the way through every crevice of my home. It ain't small up in here, y'all. So I was like trying to let it rock, but it was just like, no, it calmed me. It pulled me into a space of, wow, this feels wonderful. And I could stay here forever. Maybe it's because I'm a fan of utilizing sleep sounds at night to make sure I get all of my sleep every night. But there's a whole lot of negative conversation. But there's a whole lot more conversation, and I believe it was my friend Sonia Moreau who posted on her comment. The world didn't know they needed this album right now. Did either of you listen to the project?
I haven't listened to the project yet. That's so
Not
bad.
yet.
Listen.
But I gotta
maybe in the commercial break you could play it for us. Can you or no?
I gotta call him and get permission because
okay. See, I'm a new jacket, so I don't know how this works. I'm sorry.
Copyright. But I think one of the things that I've heard so far is that I have gotten a mixed review. But here's the deal: everything ain't for everybody.
That's what I heard. Okay. I heard a lot of negative stuff, but I'm waiting to hear you.
I'm down in the middle because I got certain people who are like, wow, this is an entire vibe that I didn't even know I needed. I heard that a couple of times, like, this is exactly what this space is. And that's what you're hopeful for as a creative, as a musician, as somebody putting good work out, is that somebody is going to recognize it for what you put in the work. So the folks who don't like it, they're going to get another album. That's why we got so many, when you go somewhere, you get the opportunity to see different things. So certain people like it, certain people don't. We get it. It's too soon for me to be like, whatever, but I know I heard some people that I agree, Natural D, in the comment section talk about like, and everything isn't demonic. And so certain things, the same where we talk about sleep sounds, where we talk about different frequencies, we are used to loud and cheap. But in this season, sometimes, now here's the deal, it doesn't matter what you listen to, because you can listen to a gospel album and it give you the wrong vibe, the wrong energy, wrong everything else. I recall listening to, it was a CeCe Winans gospel album, and I'll never forget this. I can't remember which one it was, but me and one of my prayer warrior sisters, I was like, every time I listen to that though, I get depressed. Every time I listen to it, like it ain't taking me where it need to take me. So I don't listen to that album no more. But what happened was, years later, CeCe mentioned that she was going through some personal difficulties at the time that she was making the album. And so whether you listen or not, I don't care. However, I don't care if y'all listen to Andre. And
the music in your soul.
You can. And so if you are that type of person, it does, like, don't discredit this because this is secular, or you don't like where it's going. Give it a chance to listen to it. If it ain't for you, go ahead, whether it's Spotify, Pandora, whoever, Amazon Music, wherever you listen. You know what they got on there to help y'all that don't like it? It's a button, and it's called it say shuffle. And if you
it's called opt out.
That part, you ain't got to listen to it no more. You ain't got to. So, I'm everybody. So whether I like it or not, you give it a chance, because also remember, Andre 3000 said, I'm not a 20-year-old dude no more. So you shouldn't hear the, and I agree with that. Senior citizen self. Y'all still trying to hold on to 1999. Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. Yeah, and that's absolutely true, because I'm looking at him. I was like, he is straight up old head. That's Unc right there. Unc came out here with some sounds to tell us to sit down and center yourselves, especially as we move towards the end of the year, where so many people are dealing with a bundle of overflowing emotions with certain situations they're going to be facing, dealing with family and revisiting unhealed traumas. Let's just keep it a buck. So look, it's been great dialoguing with y'all about this. Y'all already know I get a little slick with it. Thank God that he allowed me to walk in that anointing, because it's exactly what I asked him for. I'm for the uttermost to the guttermost. So, maybe again, y'all can use this one if you want to. Y'all might want to accidentally push play on this frequency when you get around the Pound Town Hounds. and maybe they could bring it down, and you would have the opportunity to present to them some music that's more edifying, as opposed to a whole lot of this over sexualized agenda that is being pushed through the music industry right now. Yeah. Because that little girl with the red hair doing strange things that got a whole little army of minions in ballet classes begging for that. It's got to stop, y'all, because how else can we break generational curses unless we become and regain the responsibility of protecting the ear gates and the eye gates of our children? They are the future, and we've got to remember what we allow to be sown into their spirits right now. Baby, it's gonna manifest when they make it to the ripe old queen age or ages that we sit here under, unless they, of course, have an encounter with the true and living God through the person and the discipline of getting to know Jesus Christ. So look, I want to go ahead and segue the show, because we got to get fed a little bit more. We got to get fed a little bit more, because check it out. We finna be busting down mad plates this week. And you know, the plate I love to have every week is the one that is served up by our very own in-house master life coach, Karen Sims Harrell, Coach Cash, as I like to call her. She is coming forth with this week's rendition of her Reflections of Purpose. Go ahead and get into it, Karen. Light up our lives on this evening.
Listen, as always, I come to you all with a title so that we can kind of package this real nice. And today's title is Tap In. Y'all know that I'm coming with the homework. We about to be with family, friends, or maybe you're the one who like, I'm not going to be bothered with any of them. I am going to sit in my corner by myself. I want to remind you that not your family. If it's not friends, go adopt somebody else's family and friends, because this is not the time to isolate. This is the time for us to tap into the community we have, tap into the village that is serving us, and understand that the opportunities we have when we tap in are greater. You see it here every week with me and Tilted collaborating. Why? We got to tap in. Why? Because could we do this individually by ourselves? Yeah, but literally, you know, when we hear the word team, together everyone achieves more. You want to get in there and make sure who's on your squad. Who are the people that you need to be able to say, listen, I rest for a minute, and somebody else needs to come through. See, you can never get that rest moment if you're not tapping into that building, if you're not tapping into making sure that those moments of self-care, it's all good. You get to have them, but don't be so isolated that you find yourself restricted and living island all by yourself because you didn't tap in. You know, on my social media today, I put somebody needs a reminder that their access that we're not pushing into. You already know the people, you got the connections, but you sitting there with those folks on the sideline doing the next big thing. We talked about the best Christmas ever, and one of the biggest things about that plot was when they finally came together, there was a Keita and a Karen, and the one said, I think this is an amazing idea. The other one is like, I don't think it is. The other person is like, but if you rebrand it, we gonna be millionaires. That's us. We the Christian side of Oprah and Gail, okay? And both of us money, just so we clear. We claiming that, but we got them Oprah Gail bestie vibes. The thing is, as you tap in, make sure that you don't miss the blessings of the people that are around you. You know the term Friendsgiving, Friends Thanksgiving, we're with family and friends. This is a great time. Listen, cousin, not everybody, because everybody everything. Come over here, cousin, because I need to talk to you. Come over here, sister, because I need to talk to you. Grandma, I need you to write down the recipe to the cake because we about to blow up with your sweet potato cake and your buttermilk pie. Whatever it is, it's not for everybody. But tap into those individuals that you know are being gifted to you. I'm saying that on purpose. The people who are being gifted to you to push your destiny out into the open. Many of us are used to being on the back end. It's time to wait for 2024. So everybody that's waiting, I'm gonna have a New Year's resolution. We ain't got time for that. We're doing it right now. Tap in and make sure that you are building that will be able to sustain you as you move forward. Tilt it. Tap in.
Tap in. Tap in. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's a whole song that I every now and again listen to on my ratchet side. It's actually tap in. Y'all know I'm saved it a little ratchet. But thank you so much for those powerful words of encouragement. I really appreciate that you encourage folks not to isolate during this season, because if we ever need each other, we need each other now more than ever before, especially with what's on the horizon here in these divided states of America. So again, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you who've tuned in on tonight. And of course, I got to go ahead and acknowledge our girl Valerie Higginbottom. She's in the comments on tonight. Did y'all know that is her singing the intro to the show? Yeah. I gotta go ahead and say thank you, Val. I'm absolutely grateful for that blessing that you gave to us here at Unhinged. It was just a little ditty in my head a couple years back during the pandemic shutdown, when I was nothing but a girl with a brand and a dream, and sounds trapped that I couldn't make come to life. And I'm grateful for our connection, that you brought what was in my head to life so perfectly. So thank you, Val Marie. I pray that you and your family have a very blessed and safe Thanksgiving. And you already know what it is. We getting ready to close down the show. It's been amazing. Thank you, Marisol, for hanging in here with us the entire time.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun.
This is what we do over here. We it's a joy tsunami, girl. You never know what you're going to get. When you catch the wave. When you catch the wave,
thank you so much.
No problem. In a tsunami wave, right? There's like, you don't know what's necessarily in it unless it busts you upside the head. You might get hit with a tree branch, a car. It might be a toddler that unfortunately got wiped away from their family. You know what I'm saying? I hate to say it that way. Y'all know I could get a little morbid from time to time, but it's real, unfortunately. But over here, our tsunami is carrying a whole lot of hope, a whole lot of love, a whole lot of joy, a whole lot of, and a whole lot of information to hopefully change someone's life for the better. I'm going to go ahead and say what I need to say and encourage you all to just be, and to kind of tag along with my sister friend on tonight. I want to go ahead and encourage you all to just be mindful of your brother and your sister as you're out and about celebrating this holiday week. Because you don't know exactly what someone might be cycling through. I am one of the number who lost a parent at the height of the pandemic. It's still a little fresh for me. And every year is going to be strange, because not only do I have to cycle through the loss of my mother at Thanksgiving, her birthday was legitimately 4 days before Christmas. So I am facing a bevy of emotion. So, and I'm also grateful for my tribe that makes sure y'all send me love notes and pick up the phone and send me text messages and things like that. I am absolutely covered. So I want you all to make sure that you just be mindful to share a kind word, to share a hug if you can. And check it out. You might know of someone who's in need. You may have a little bit of extra money in your bank account. Ain't nothing wrong with you hitting these streets and doing your Secret Santa thing. You got an extra coat in your closet that you can get rid of because you just bought 3 more that you don't need. Go ahead and donate that thing to a clothing drive, because there are many going on. Am I telling your business, Karen? You got a new Sheen jacket?
No,
I just got a coat today in the mailbox.
I just got a coat, but it got to go back because it ain't warm enough. It's not sheen, but it ain't warm. I need the wool. But anyway.
Yes, ma'am. I understand. But that's it. Y'all know you never know what you're gonna get here at Unhinged. It's your girl Tilted Halo sitting alongside my good girlfriend Karen Sims Harrell, Coach Cash herself. And we have been blessed with the presence of the lovely Mrs. Marisol Martinez Colón. I guess it's a wrap, y'all. It's a wrap. All right. Until next time, y'all. Keep it grace. How about that? And we are out.